Welcome to Faith Positive Radio with Dr. Joey Fawcett, the Christian business coaching conversation that increases your faith with greater joy at work so you love God and others more. Dr. Joey interviews Christian business professionals just like you to discover their secrets for working faith positive in a negative world. Welcome to Faith Positive Radio with Dr. Joey Fawcett.
Hey, Faith Positive Nation. Dr. Joey here with another amazing episode of Faith Positive Radio. I know I say that like every episode, don't I? But that's because they're amazing due to all these amazing guests that keep rolling up here in Faith Positive Nation. I mean, there's just so many different experts in so many different fields. I just am blessed to get to hang out with them and to ask questions. Today's guest is yet another amazing one. In fact, let me just ask you this question. And you can be the business owner, you can be any cog in the business wheel at all in the company at which you work. How's your to-do list coming along?
To-do list. The thing I like about to-do lists, for me, they're exciting. Why? Because they're always new. They're always new, and I love new and shiny things. It's come along pretty good.
It's come along pretty good. Well, for most of us in Faith Positive Nation, our to-do list caused something between anaphylactic shock and right and heart attack, simply because there's stuff on there that's moldy. It's been on there forever. It's stuff we got to get to, and we just haven't gotten to yet. So how do you eradicate the bottleneck?
Mm-hmm.
How do you eradicate the bottleneck on your to-do list? Well, today's expert guest, my friends in Faith Positive Nation, has your answer. And more than just your answer, is going to blow your mind with ways that you can unbottleneck, unstick the logjam in your to-do list and be able to move forward to get more done. And as Christ followers, it all boils down to a matter of stewardship, right? Because we want to be strategic with our own gifts and make sure that we're constantly focused on doing what it is that Christ calls us to do. So who is this amazing expert guest, you ask? It's Jaime Jay. Jaime Jay is in the house. Welcome to Faith Positive Radio, Jaime Jay.
Hey, Dr. Joey, thanks for having me.
Man, I just think that should be like a musical artist name or something, because that's just like the coolest name ever. Did your mama name you Jaime Jay?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I was named after my older brother, Baby Jay. So I got Jaime Jay.
So how many brothers are there named Jay in your family? I mean, I'm reminded of Bob Newhart. This is my brother Daryl and my other brother Daryl. Yeah. Or was it Larry and Larry? I forget.
Just one. Brother Daryl. Was it Larry and Larry? I don't remember Larry.
I don't. Well, it's going back in my mind too far. I did have breakfast this morning. I do remember that.
Hey, fantastic. I've been sitting in the dentist chair this morning. So. Woo-hoo.
Oh, you had an unforgettable morning. So Jaime Jay, I mean, we as Christians know that we have spiritual gifts. We know that as Christian business people, there are certain things we're better at than others, but all this stuff keeps getting dumped on us. It gets dumped on our to-do list. It gets dumped on our desk. And oh, by the way, if you're in corporate America today, you're probably working from home, even though you're listening to this in January and we're recording this in November. So maybe you got back to the office for a little bit, but you're not with your team that you're normally physically with. And you find yourself at a place of overwhelm and struggle on a regular basis because somebody's furloughed, somebody's laid off, and you're having to do more with less of you. Jaime, man, help me with this bottleneck.
Oh, yeah, it's a tough one. My good friend Mark Hafner is the one that came up with the name because he said, Jaime, you're the bottleneck in your business. And
wow.
We found that out quite a bit. And I thought, man, that's a brilliant name. Let's take that one. And what we found out, I talk with a lot of people, either manage teams or they're, in corporate America. That's where I came from 12 years ago until it took me about 11 years to figure out how to get out. So I'm familiar with corporate America and the goings on and things like that, but I'm also familiar with entrepreneurs and business leaders and team managers. And especially with all the stuff that's going on outside that we are out of control of, that we can't control. If we have chaos inside, to me, this is one of the leading causes, not only for burnout, but depression and all these other things that you're seeing at this time during COVID, at the time of this recording that we're doing today. COVID is terrible. It's a shame that COVID's here, but it is.
Yeah.
What's even more of a shame are the effects outside of what COVID is. And a lot of it has to do, you mentioned to-do list or a little, this is a huge thing.
It's a big
little
deal,
to-do
man.
list, because that starts putting pressure on people. And if you don't have a system or rhyme or reason or processes or workflows in place on how you're going to execute against these to-dos list, these things start building up, and all of a sudden your shoulders get weighted down, and all of a sudden you feel the stress in your neck, and you're getting headaches, and there's arguments within the home because you're always at home, and your lack of communication. And just brings on all of this stuff that can be summed up in one word: overwhelm.
Yeah, it really can.
And so that's what we do at Bottleneck for these professionals and team leaders and entrepreneurs and business leaders, is we help prevent that overwhelm. We help you stop focusing on the wrong things so you can focus on doing your best work. That's our provocative point of view.
I love that. A provocateur of a change in POV, huh?
Yeah.
So help me as a Christ follower to, well, I guess first I got to confess or become aware of, and then confess that I need to do the right thing, do my best work, right? And I maybe have some stuff thrown at me that is not bringing out my best. So that's in the realm of stewardship, right, Jamie?
Amazing. Yes, 100%. Because it all starts with you, Dr. Joey, with me. It all starts with us in the beginning of the day. Before I even get out of bed, I'm saying my positive affirmations. And I'll give you a good example of what happened today. And what does this have to do with Bottleneck? I'll tell you.
Yeah.
You can bear with me.
Sure.
I have a vendor that charged my account today, and I did not authorize it. And immediately following that, I got a hold of their VP and expressed my displeasure with that decision on their end.
Did you explain it to him, brother?
But this morning I said, you're going to have a great day. You're going to overcome your challenges with love and kindness, because our whole company here, we all say this: lead with kindness. That's one of our big things here. But I kind of got a little upset. Kind of got a little upset. It all worked out. I was able to vent. They were very kind. But it's things like that I think kind of start getting in. If we don't take care of ourselves, both personally, like health-wise, business-wise, all of that stuff, this is going to shine out on everybody else. And it's really going to hurt them. And again, that goes right back to the bottleneck, because now all this negativity is creeping in everywhere. And, it's a snowball effect. It just starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger as it goes down the hill. And I think it's really important to know the snowball gets bigger when it goes down the hill, not up the hill. So you want to keep going up and prevent all that stuff.
That's right. And we do get tired ducking sometimes at the stuff that's coming down the hill at us, right? Yeah. By the way, Faith Positive Nation, I'm not sure of the air date, but Dr. Charles Stone is someone that we talked to recently about the neuroscience of stress and how God made our brain. And so this is right in keeping with what you're talking about. That old children's thing about, and they all live in the house that Jack built. I mean, that's whether it's Jack or Jill. It's true. The things of work come home with us. And so if there's that overwhelm at work, it does create a lot of stress, and it desensitizes us at home to the things that are really important, like with our spouses and our children and our cats and dogs and parakeets and things like that. I have no idea why I just said parakeets. I've never owned one. But anyway, so it's a matter of stewardship and recognizing that the good Lord made us to be human beings instead of human doings. And so there is absolutely nothing heroic about running yourself in the ground. There's something very heroic about putting boundaries around expectations for what you can do each day and teaching the people around you how to respect your work. So how does Bottleneck help me address that, Jamie?
So basically what we do is here at Bottleneck is since 2006, I've been sourcing, we call them distant assistants from the Philippines. So I've been doing it for 14 years. I've hired over 1,000 people. And during that time, I've learned a thing or two about the art of delegation and the art of working remotely. So one of my friends says, Jamie, you've been social distancing before social distancing was a thing. And he's right. My wife and I have been working remotely. But I've learned a lot about the hiring process. And more importantly, I found out that a lot of people don't know what they're doing when it comes to hiring, and they don't understand that they're the bottleneck. And for people that are in a leadership position, like you, like me, like many other people, it's sometimes not too welcoming to get some constructive criticism thrown your way, saying that, hey, you're not doing the right thing in essence. So you have to be careful where you walk there. But basically what we do is we do three things. We help people find a good hire. And we actually help them. We walk them through the process. We develop a plan for them. We hold their hand the first 90 days. And there's three things they can do: a delegation roadmap, create a job roles and responsibilities. And the third thing is to create a meeting agenda and training schedule. We have templates for all that. We walk them through all that. We show them, hey, maybe I'm not ready to hire somebody. Okay, that's fine. When do I need to start doing this? Right away. Because if you don't have the systems and processes built out in your business, number one, you're going to lack evaluation in that business. So with systems, increases valuations. Number two, when you do scale, it's a lot easier for you to have a step-by-step written process on how you want to do things. So that way, anybody that you hire doesn't have to wonder whether or not what's in your head is what they're doing correctly and up to your expectations. So that's what we do.
Boy, that's a big one right there, because so often it's, I've been married long enough to be able to know some things my wife wants and how she wants it. But I must admit, even after 38 years, man, I get it wrong in amazing ways too. I am really creative. So to expect an assistant to be able to read your mind and you haven't been with them 38 years is absolutely redunculous. So what you do is, first of all, you help me. You're talking about the constructive criticism. What if I just looked at it as a Christ follower from my behavior? Earlier you were talking about lead with kindness. What if I just do an honest assessment of myself, or ask the people who love me, have you noticed any change in my behavior recently? How loving am I? How kind am I? And if these, it's almost like a 360 around the fruits of the Spirit. How about that? And just based on what I'm hearing from them, then that becomes an opportunity for new awareness for me.
I love how you ask the positive way as well, as opposed to, hey, what am I doing wrong? Or is there anything I can improve? Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, well, just to knowing that these people love me and that they want what's best for me, but also particularly the people we live with. Hey, when your teenager looks at you and says, "Hey, Dad, are you okay? Mom, is everything all right?" That's one of those clues, right? That you may want to change something. So then it becomes a stewardship of resources, and you are the resource. So emotional resources is certainly a part of that. It sounds to me like, first of all, I like distant as opposed to virtual, because virtual assistants make it sound like I'm working with a hologram or something. I'm not. This is a real person. A whole
explanation for that as well. So.
Okay, go ahead. Tell me about that then, because I like that.
I'm really glad you brought this up. We are the world's first dedicated distant assistant company.
Dedicated distant assistant. First of all, it kind of rhymes. I sort of
like,
like Jaime Jay, distant assistant. I'm digging that. But so you're the world's first.
We're the world's first,
Man,
and
awesome.
It's something that makes us not any better than any other company. There's some other companies out there in the world that there's and I'll say them, Fiverr and Upwork. These are great companies,
right?
But there's different things for different people and different opportunities for what it is you're trying to achieve. So what we've done is we actually are an anti-virtual assistant company. If you go and set up a Google alert or Google virtual assistant, chances are you're going to get a lot of results that have to do with artificial intelligence, a bot.
Really?
And so it's more of, or Fiverr, Upwork, when you send out a job to one of those types of deals, it's a transactional based, and I'll even say opportunity, transactional based, because you're paying somebody to get something done.
Right.
Where this is way different for Bottleneck Distant Assistants is that we don't want to be a transactional based company. We want to develop intimate based relationships, long-term based relationships. It is so hard for you to submit a project to somebody new that you've never worked with before. And I would assume a lot of people listening to this would agree with that. What does that mean?
Yeah, you don't know them. You check references, but still, give me 5 people that you worked with. Well, it could be their 5 best friends or 5 cousins or something.
Well, not even that. What if you send a project to Fiverr or Upwork? And again, there's a certain time for these, and they're great companies because there's things, it's just not us. But if you submit a project to Fiverr, you get it back. You're like kind of rolling the dice. You're wondering, okay, what's this going to look like? Are they going to be on point? Are they going to be way off? And do they understand my tone, my voice, my vision, my mission, my core values? When you're working with a dedicated distant assistant, this is an intimate-based distant relationship that learns everything about you. If you were to receive an email from me or from my personal assistant, the tone would be identical. Work together that well. She understands the brand. She understands she can make her own decisions by making sure, is this good for the company? Is this good for the team? Is it good for our clients? Everybody on the team is like that. And so there's a huge difference between that relationship. And if you're going to be investing in the growth of your company or scaling your company in any way, shape, or form, wouldn't you want to do it with people that surround yourself, that have a shared belief system, believe in similar things, and all can come together in an objective goal? Now, the way they go about that could be totally different. I love challenging myself and others challenging me, but we know our end goal is the same. You couldn't do that with a robot.
No, or with someone that I just write a contract with, because what you're describing is transactional versus transformational. Because what I've done is reached a place of relational credibility with my distant assistant in such a way that I know she or he has the company's best interest at heart, right? And we're all rowing in the same direction. And so I can turn my back and know that the work's done without having to micromanage. Because, I mean, if you've ever done a contract before, like the companies you're talking about, you have to micromanage every little detail. And sometimes, well, starting over is a challenge.
How nice would it be? I have to tell you, this is a perfect example. We all get stressed out because of that to-do list that you opened up the podcast with.
Yeah.
I used to spend about 45 minutes to maybe an hour a day on email, of which 80 to 90% of it was trashed. I spend about 5 minutes a day on email now. What would you do with an extra 45 minutes, 30, 45 minutes a day?
I'd play with my granddaughter. That's what I do.
just imagine if you take that over the course of a year. Oh my Lord.
A week. Just give me a week of extra 45 extra minutes with her, man.
4 or 5 hours a week,
Awesome. So we're back to stewardship of resources, right? Yeah. And really helping me make what we call in Faith Positive World, in Faith Positive Nation, we refer to it as your unique contribution. So talk to me about how working with a distant assistant helps me really strategically focus on making my unique contribution to the company.
This is one of my favorite questions. And the reason why is because, again, it goes back to, we call it a ripple effect, a positive ripple effect. It starts off in your own backyard, then we can grow to a regional, then a national, and then hopefully, and what we truly desire is to get to a global and international type relationship with this. Basically what happens is, even though I'm outsourcing to the Philippines, I'm able to provide a service for somebody else who then, and in doing so, I earn an income.
Sure.
I take that income and I help my local economy. I give to charities and I do things like that. So I'm starting to make an impact here. However, the people that I'm helping are now freed up to be able to do their best work and concentrate on growing their business. Guess what happens there? No matter where they're at, they start investing in local. There's local commerce. Then they get, and for me, so long story longer, if you look to the end of this thing for my global reach, we had somebody, she was an incredible violinist who since left the company and gone on. And by the way, I absolutely commend her for that. And I will do that every single time. I will write them a letter of reference, no matter what, if they can do something to live out their dream. I think that's amazing. And a lot of people are afraid to lose people. But if you have good systems and processes in place, you don't have to worry about that. However, she went on to play for the Manila Symphony.
Wow.
And giving back, using the ripple effect mentality, giving back. She now once a month goes and gets these kids to come together and she teaches them violin for free.
Holy cow.
Right? So that is the epitome of what being kind and leading with kindness, growing your company, taking care of yourself first in your own backyard. So then you can go outside and help more and more people and really, really make an imprint on the world, actually. Maybe, who knows, intergalactically here pretty soon.
Yeah, it could very well be soon as the first colony gets established on the moon and Mars, right? Oh, man, that's incredible, because as you're talking about that, it just fits with that divine design that we know God put within each of us, right? That image and likeness. And there's over 7.5 billion of us here, no two of us being exactly alike. So what a testimony to divine creativity. So why would we not want to release each other to go live out of our unique contributions, out of our very best? Because as you were talking about your violinist there, and I'm going back to, let's say I had an additional 45 minutes a day to spend with granddaughter. First of all, I'm going to be happier in my work because I've had more time to focus on the unique contribution that I've made, right? So my engagement with my work, my satisfaction, we refer to it in Faith Positive Nation as greater joy at work. And this is a Philippians 4 kind of joy, rejoice in all things. So I am more joyful, and I get to be with that granddaughter more. And so I'm more joyful and I'm with her. So that joy communicates to her. She grows up understanding that Pops does does this work and sees the joy that it brings him in work. So she begins to pursue that part of her life that would make her unique contribution happen. And then, well, of course we want to give away violin lessons, right? Because of all the joy that's created out of that.
Yeah, I love that, because you're sharing positive examples to create positive habits. But the other thing you have to look at too is when you're at work, a lot of people started working and doing something they did in that job. It's something that interests them. If you can break that down to a 70-30, where 70% of the time you're doing your best work and 30% of the time is nails on the chalkboard, that is awesome.
That is,
because if you're
flip-flopped right now, if it's
flip-flopped, and a lot of people are like that, you really need, because not only do you get quality time with the family, yes, that is definitely yes, but it's at work too. Most of us spend our time sleeping, then working, and then personal time.
That's right. Statistics say about 70% of all of our waking hours are spent working. And the latest Gallup poll found that 85% of people are disengaged with their work. Well, it's because of that flipped paradigm you're talking about. 70% of that 70% of waking hours is spent in fingernails on chalkboard kind of activity. And so with that level, it's emotionally draining, right? I'm overdrawn in my emotional bank account, my mental bank account, my spiritual bank account. So when I go home, who do you think those people get walking in the door, right?
Well, you nailed it. And Dr. Joey, let me just tell you, when we started this call, we were laughing and we were talking about silly, goofy things. Yeah. You know what? This is the part of I'm working right now. Yes, this is the part of my life that I love. My wife and I are, for the first time ever, doing a keynote together on Wednesday.
Oh, sweet.
We are so excited. Like that. That's what I love to do. I love to get the word out, help people spread the word about Bottleneck. I love doing. What I do not like doing is payroll, checking emails, making sure that the deal pipeline is going through, and hey, have we collected or this or is that, or if we sent that email. That stuff is part of business. But if you can find somebody to take that part away, and they love doing that part, it's a win-win. Because our clients are happy.
Absolutely. Not only are clients happy, but I mean, why are they happy? And then the distant assistants are happy because these are things that are in their sweet spot. I mean, QuickBooks was invented for somebody who enjoys QuickBooks, right? And so if they're getting to do QuickBooks, man, that's like the rabbit in the briar patch every day, right? Just toss me in there. So it's a double win, really. And then I guess the third leg of the stool is the company wins.
Yeah.
So bottleneck.online is the website that we can go to. Yes. One of the things that Jaime Jay is my guest today, Faith Positive Nation. One of the things that you talked about just a moment ago that I think is a huge advantage of doing business with you guys is you have some processes in place. So you ran by those quickly. I think there were 3 of them. Would you just enumerate those again for us so we can make sure we got this? Because it's not just, hey, we got all these distant assistants. Go pick your one out.
Yeah.
No, there's a process here, right?
Heavy duty process. Yes. And my good friend Scott Beebe said, Jaime, do something as if it's the last time you're ever going to do it. And that just stuck with me.
Oh, so Scott's a great guy. He's been a guest here too.
Yep. And he's amazing. So the 3 things are a delegation roadmap.
Okay.
The delegation roadmap is where you list out all of the tasks you do in a given day and you assign 2 values. Is it something you must do, or can you delegate this to somebody else who can do it 80% as good as you or better, so that you know they have a learning curve?
Okay.
And the second part is this something that gives you energy or absolutely drains you of energy? Okay. Then you segment that list to everything that drains you of energy and everything that you can delegate. Now you have a task list that you can start building out workflows and processes to, so that you can delegate that down the road. The second thing is creating job roles and responsibilities.
Okay.
It's much more than a job description, because you talk about soft skills, you talk about personalities and missions and visions, culture, and all of that stuff. And then the third is making sure that you set up a good meeting agenda. So when you have a meeting, you bring a meeting agenda with you to those meetings. And you don't go over on your agreed upon meeting time, and then also the training schedule. So if you can focus on those 3 things, these are all things that are going to really help you prepare. And this goes for whether you're hiring in brick and mortar in real life, or you're going to hire remote. These 3 things are something I can't recommend enough for you to have down and get ready to go before you hire, because according to Glassdoor, it costs $4,129 to hire someone in the United States. To fire somebody in the United States can cost you up to 9 months' salary.
Oh yeah,
Very expensive mistakes.
We lose, I've forgotten how many billions. It may be as much as $1 trillion in this country every year over lost hours and training new hires, and then them leaving. Top talent attraction and retention, number 1 issue. Every company that we work with here in Faith Positive Nation. So, man, well, I'd love to talk more, but our meeting agenda has reached its natural conclusion time. And so how can we get in touch with you to learn more?
You can Google Jaime Jay. You can go to bottleneck.online, and we're there. If you want to chat, I'm happy to chat with you. It's free consultations, but to learn more. And that's one thing, if you're looking into an assistant, check around, do your research and do your homework, because there's some companies out there that'll be a better fit than we will, and vice versa.
Wonderful. So bottleneck.online is where you can go and discover more about distant assistants. Jaime Jay, Faith Positive Nation always wants to know about a favorite Bible verse, a Bible passage, a Bible story. There are a lot of them running through my head right now for you, but I'm interested in what's in your head and heart. What's your favorite Bible verse or Bible story?
Well, I would say it's Psalm 119. And the reason why, we just experienced it through COVID. Very, very challenging to many, many people. Lost faith, lost direction, lost clarity, tons of stuff like that. So it's always nice to know that, there's a plan. Something's going to be happening. Stay the course. Do what you're going to do. Just know, do the right thing, be kind, and things will come back. So yeah, if you guys don't know that one, I would highly recommend checking that one out. It's a pretty good one.
Yeah, yeah. And if memory serves me correctly, the 119th chapter of Psalms is in the exact middle of the entire 66 books, and happens to also be the longest chapter in the Bible, I think. So make sure you have a nice cup of coffee when you sit down and read Psalm 119. But man, it's an amazing chapter. Thanks for reminding me. I'll go back this evening in my evening prayers and read Psalm 119. Well, man, I thank you so much. Hope you and your wife have an amazing experience with that keynote. Thanks for sharing with us about that. That's certainly something we can pray with you about. Bottleneck.online is the website. Go there, check out Jaime Jay, and just be a good steward of your own resources. Get out from under the overwhelm that's sucking you dry, and just become a better spouse, parent, person, right? And enjoy your work more and have more joy. And Jaime Jay can help you do that. Man, thanks so much for being here today. We appreciate it. God bless you.
Thanks for listening to Faith Positive Radio, the Christian business coaching conversation that increases your faith with greater joy at work so you love God and others more. Suggest guests and ask questions when you email Dr. Joey at info@getpositive.today. And be sure to get your free gift of the 5 positive business conversations to have today coaching program at getpositive.today. Until next time, may God bless you with everything your heart can hope for and more than your mind can imagine.